Good morning, good people. I'm heading out on a little journey. Gotta go get a chest x-ray before I let me go ahead and throw my trash away first. Yeah, I'm scheduled to do a full knee replacement surgery in about a week and a half. And part of the process includes me getting a chest x-ray for my pre-op clearance. So I get me in focus here. Yep. So I'm gonna head on down to this x-ray place. Be a nice little casual stroll. Since it's just a walk-in, I don't have any designated time. So whatever time I get there, we'll officially follow my standard of never early. So it's 8:45 on a Wednesday morning. I have an 11 o'clock Zoom meeting that I'd like to participate in. I consider myself as a panelist, a regular panelist with a worldwide chat regarding slot car racing. Yeah, we end up with about 20 or so people every week. Some people regular, some people just chime in, a little more than 20 people or so a week. And we talk all about the world of slot cars for a couple hours. How you doing? See a fellow e-biker there. So that's pretty cool. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. Kind of fell off into it. It's turned into one of my passionate hobbies. A re-insurgence from a pastime experience as a child. Yeah, it was preteen when I first got into slot cars. I think I was about 10 years old. So anyway, pandemic hit and had my old sets from when I was 10 years old. I had saved it and ran across it right when I was clearing things out from LA to come to Las Vegas, and move to Las Vegas. And as I ran across my old set buried in my garage in Los Angeles, I went online and saw that there was a lot of interest still in that hobby. So I went and bought a updated kit. Not updated, I actually bought a kit from another set from the 1960s. That's when it was first released, 1965 or 66. Manufacturer is Revell, R-E-V-E-L-L. And they had the biggest set that they ever made at the time. Somebody was selling it on eBay, fully boxed, every single component of that kit in place, with the cars and controllers, everything about it, and a couple little extras, fully boxed. It wasn't mint condition, it was in exceptionally good condition. So I went and bought that. Found myself setting it up in the, because we had moved a lot of things out of the house trying to get to Vegas. So I found myself having a lot of space opened up in the house, and I set it up for the holidays, for Christmas, because that's when we were kind of going through this exercise. And I took that new set and bought some plywood and put it on top of some tables and set it up, and we had a ball that Christmas at the house in Los Angeles. So that was back in 2018. Yep. And then I packed it up, and it's part of the things that I sent out to Las Vegas, and then got to Vegas and stored it in our little RV garage. And when the pandemic hit in 2020, everybody out there was getting involved in trying to find something to do, to being on lockdown and trying to find something to do at home, and besides just playing board games and watching movies, which was good. It was kind of cool that we were able to do that. But I decided to go out in the RV garage and bring out that box and crack it open and laid it out on the floor in the living room. And I'll never forget my daughter said, "That thing can't work. It's over 50 years old." Not 50, she may have said 50, but it wasn't 50 years old at the time. But nonetheless, she couldn't believe that I would take out a toy car set that I had when I was a kid and lay it out and expect it to actually work. I put that sucker on there and those cars started moving like it was 40 years earlier. Amazing. And I went on eBay and started buying cars and more track and more track and more and more and more track. Yeah. So, and after a while, I knew I was into something that I really wanted to get back into. So I solidified my passion resurgence passion to get into that hobby again. So I start looking and thinking about what I was going to do, and because I always had a passion when I was first into the hobby. My neighbor across the street, he had the system, he had the same system. He actually had his system before me. I had a different brand called Eldon at the time that I got for Christmas, and he had gotten a Revell set, and I was using my little Eldon and got on his little Revell set, and it was so much better, higher quality. You use slightly bigger cars. Mine was a 1/32 scale, which means you take 32 of those cars and lay them out, and they'd be the size of the length or the width of a real car. So 32 cars would make one the size of one. That's what the 1/32 scale means. So that was for the Eldon. I came with 1/32 scale cars, and when I tried his cars out, his race track out, the Revell system, his could do the 1/32 scale cars, but he could also do the 1/24 scale cars. So 1/24 is just a tad bigger than the 1/32s, because it only takes 24 cars to be equivalent to the size of a regular car. So it's slightly bigger. I think a typical 1/32 scale car would be about 7 inches long versus a 1/24 scale car, which would be about 9 inches long. And the bigger cars look a little more realistic and have more details and things like that. So I really like those bigger cars. Okay, so I'll go this route. Anyhow, so he had the Revell set, and I had the Eldon set. So by the next Christmas, I decided to beg my parents for a Revell set, and that's what I ended up getting. Was a Revell set, and we would go race together and things like that. Nothing formal, just playing around, kicking around. And we used to go to the commercial raceways as well. They had one in Culver City. They had one out in on Rosecrans near, I'm going to say Compton, Hawthorne. Anyway, I remember we used to take a big old bus out there with that little boxes of slot cars and stuff like that. But anyway, because he had some Revell track and I had Revell track, one of the things that you kind of fall into the groove for is bigger. Bigger is better. So we both had our tracks and we decided to combine them together and go bigger and bigger and bigger, and bought some extra pieces and things like that. And I'm gonna go down this trail, a little safer here. So we decided to combine our sets together, and the unique thing about the Revell track back in the days was the tracks were typically 2 lanes, so you had 2 people racing at a time, but the Revell system, they had thought out the process of the possibility and made it so that it would be possible, rather, to put the system together in a 4-lane configuration. You could actually convert it from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And that was this awesome, exciting concept. So, so with that capability, man, you know, instead of 2 people racing, you can have 4 people racing at a time. So we were on this mission to create a massive 4-lane track. My dad actually cleared out the garage for us and built some tables, a wooden table for us to put our layout in place, and we set it all up. With mixed results. You know, we didn't know what we were doing and trying to figure out how to get everything properly configured, but we did have it. We were successful in setting up a 4-lane track in our 2.5 car garage, but it was limited, a bit limited in size. We wanted bigger. I wanted bigger, rather, let's put it that way. But we did have a ball. And shortly after that, we got older and got involved in other things, playing sports and so we played with sports, and I guess the interest went into girls and other things besides slot car racing. So it all kind of phased down just a tad. Wow, this interesting. Lost our bike trail for a minute. Anyhow, so my slot car track and everything got tucked away in my garage for decades. I mean, literally decades. So all the way fast forward to when we were planning on moving, and ran across it as we cleared out the garage and getting all the items we want to take with us. And that was one of the things I decided to take with me. So yeah, that brings us up to again where the pandemic hit, and I decided to bring it all out and start going on eBay. And buying more track and things like that, and building up my interest and playing around and kicking it with friends. And I saw someone advertising a book on a multitude of different layouts. I think it was 101 slot car layouts. And that was his volume 1 book, and he actually had a volume 2 and a volume 3. I ended up, and it was virtual books, so you get them downloaded. And he also provides you with a CD if you wanted to have the media. And if you want to print out your own, you can print out your own. So yeah, the book was exciting, and I started going through some of the layouts and stuff like that in the book, and they had 2-lane layouts and 4-lane layouts, and it was somewhat generic. Oh, no, actually, it was had layouts for a variety of different brands of tracks, because some of the different brands had different size track pieces and components, but there was some standards, not standard, but some common. Trying to get this light together here. There was some common sizes that turned out to be for a variety of the. Wow, this is very awkward. All right. It was some standard sizes, so there was a lot of the brands were making the, like for example, the straights would be 12 inches long for multiple brands, and the track widths would be about 7 inches wide to accommodate the 124 scale cars, 3.5 inches wide each. So the layouts that was in this book turned out to be a bit compatible with multiple brands. So the guy that wrote the book, he was passionate about Strombecker, which was one of the more popular brands when slot cars first hit the market in the early 1960s. So they were one of the very first companies to really push and market for home use plastic track layouts. So anyway, so he was a very heavy user of Strombecker, which the form factor was identical to the size of Revell. So basically, anything that he laid out for his Strombecker system, and he designed most of those 101 track layouts. On your left, for the Strombecker system, so they were fully compatible with Revell. So I had a lot of layout options, and I was trying quite a few of the ones that he had in his book and stuff like that. But again, as I mentioned before, I had a passion for, or not passion, but I had a big interest in setting up a massive 4-lane layout. Yeah, and let me back up a little bit. That system that I bought off of eBay that came fully boxed and everything, that was a 4-lane system. It was the only 4-lane system that they had ever sold at the time. To date, I believe that's the only one they ever. So it was, as a 4-laner was, it's called Americana. But so yeah, that's why I bought it, because it was a ready-made, packed-up 4-lane system. Oops, I goofed. I missed my trail. I was going to the sidewalk. I have to go down this little trail here. All right, now I'm back on track. All right, about to run out of bike trail there. All right, so, and like I said, he actually had some 4-lane layouts. So the Strombecker system had components that allowed you to make a 4-lane system as well. But the Revell was more thought out, and it allowed this is kind of different. My GPS bike map is not quite accurate. I guess they haven't updated it. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, the Revell system had a better integration and better forethought in setting up 4-lane systems. Good morning. So I started going through his book and looking at all the 4-lane layouts, and he had some very nice layouts, creative. And I actually became pen pals with this guy. I was going back and forth with some emails and throwing some things off of him. He was corresponding back to me. Pretty exciting, and that's why I ended up getting all 3 of his volume books. And he had a lot of suggestions, and literally he had instructions on how to make custom pieces. So if your brand of track didn't have certain components, which many of them did not, he had an illustration of how you could typically design and make your own custom components. For example, one of the most common components would be a half-size curve and a half-size straight. And those happen to be readily available as, not readily available, but happen to be manufactured by Revell, but they're very hard to find and very, very rare to be able to find those size track components. So he illustrated how you can go about custom designing your own size tracks and things like that, which is very eye-opening. And he made layouts that had took advantage of those custom pieces, like 1/3 size straights and 1/4 size straights, as well as again making your own half curves if they didn't exist or you didn't have access to them. So anyway, I got a lot out of that, and I was looking over all the different layouts. I wanted to get as big and massive a 4-lane setup that I could, and another one of the things that I had discussed with him was how to go about cleaning up old rusted track. And so he gave me some suggestions and things like that. And that was a good starting point. and I used some of his suggestions to come up with experimenting and being an engineer and trying to be I still have a little ways to go. This was a little bit longer than I anticipated, this trek. But it's cool. So we chatted a little bit about ways to clean the track up, and I was buying everything that at the time I thought that it was such a rare find with these old 50-plus-year-old plastic track, that anybody that offered it, I was purchasing. I was buying trash, literally trash at the time, not knowing it, and not until I really received it from the people from eBay. I was primarily on eBay. That I even discovered that it was really, really trash. I mean, completely rusted out. Some of them had the rails falling out, all kind of stuff like that. But at the time, I was kind of new, and I'm gonna use the word desperate, into trying to acquire what I thought was so rare. These track components. So I was picking up anything and everything. And then after getting a lot, I started becoming very selective and getting junk as well. Let me start with that. Not only just getting a lot, but a lot of junk. I became very selective on what I was looking for, and I would take all the junk pieces and put them in a certain pile as potential for cleaning up if I needed to, if I couldn't find enough of the good stuff. So anyway, I kind of digressed a little bit, but bottom line is I ended up acquiring quite a bit of track over this time. And I was trying to figure out what was I going to have as my final layout, or not final layout, but my primary layout that I wanted to do for this massive 4-laner that I had in mind. And I looked over quite a few of his designs and layouts, and some of them were really nice and interesting. And I thought about a couple I had narrowed down to about 3 or 4 types of layouts that he had in his design books and stuff like that. And then I ran across the old layout that was iconic at the time, that was showcased on the TV show Batman from the 1960s. They actually used, and I didn't know it at the time, they used Revell track to make that. And I saw components in that track that I had never really personally seen before. And so yeah, I saw in that layout things that I had never seen before, which was excuse me. It's a little nippy out here. On your left. Thank you. It was like the aprons, or the side aprons. I had seen a limited a limited amount of those side aprons before, but I'd never seen, some of them I had never ever seen it. Didn't even know they existed, because you had to buy them separate. And back in those days, as a teenager, you didn't buy a lot of things, and you didn't even see a lot of, and they weren't that common. So I didn't realize that layout on the Batman show was really Revell track until I did my little research and saw that, wow, it was actually Revell track. And the history behind that was someone at Revell had an inside track with several people in the entertainment industry, and so they would get them to offer to provide track for them in certain TV shows and movies and things like that. So that was their little marketing scheme to put their track on these different TV shows and movies and things like that. So you'll see, I know there was 2 episodes of Batman. I'm pretty sure it was just 2 episodes of Batman that had that Revell track in it. But this one they had the massive 4-lane track. It was like the most awesome layout that I had ever seen and integrated. And it was designed by Revell and put on that TV show. And I got the history behind it. They set it up in one day and laid it all out, and it was just awesome design. And I'll put a little photo of it here when I post this video, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So that became my passionate, ultimate goal, was to create that, recreate that entire design. And it took a lot of track to make that happen, a lot of unique components that was very, very hard to find. Matter of fact, I didn't get it took me about 1.5 years, almost 2 years worth of searching to be able to get all the components that I needed. And I was missing some very rare components, even longer than that. And in fact, I had someone custom design some 3D because they just weren't readily available. And then all of a sudden, after I had to design it and put it together, as fate would have it, I started finding those extremely rare ones in plentiful quantities. So I ended up acquiring all the components that I needed, the official components that I needed, instead of using the custom design ones that I had somebody make up. But in fact, I have probably spares of everything. I could probably at this time make 2 to 3 full layouts of the Batman track if I so desired, based on the components that I have acquired. Wow, I've never been on this. This is a new experience. This little trail that I'm on here. So, anyhow, that kind of lays out my current status of my collection. I still do stay on eBay and look for those rare components and things like that. And ironically, well, not ironically, but yeah, I guess part of the process was as I was going through this venture of acquiring the things I wanted for my Batman layout, I would run across some things that I found still quite interesting. And acquired some of those as well. So, which included a lot of race sets and things that I thought were rare and hard to find. I would acquire those. So I believe I have at least a couple dozen boxed raceway sets. Like they were presented in a, let's see, okay, looks like I might be at my destination here. But so yeah, I've acquired quite a bit of boxed race sets, and then I even looked at some other brands that I wasn't even I had known about, but found a bit of an interest in those as well, and that was the Monogram brand. And I've described the Revell track as the Cadillac of the plastic car track during its heyday. And then I described the Monogram track as being the Rolls Royce, because it just had a nicer, cooler look to it and different tint and tone. And so, okay, let's see. Trying to navigate through here. So I've probably have about a dozen, maybe, yeah, more than a dozen of the Monogram full sets. And what I've done also is I've tried to expand the interest in the hobby to some of my friends and associates and things like that. So I've actually given away half a dozen, maybe more than half a dozen sets to friends and relatives, along with cars and things like that. I call myself, gave myself the title of trying to restock the or reignite the interest in the hobby on a one-on-one basis with some of my friends and family. So anyway, looks like I'm at my destination here. Hope that personal story has piqued a little interest in. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. See you in the next video. Bye.